Hello, my name is Candace Ture. I am a social worker. I'm a certified mental health coach. I'm a poet. And most importantly, I'm a healer who is healing, and I am a human among humans. Today, I want to talk about Juneteenth, and I want to say happy Juneteenth and talk a little bit about the work I do in the world. As a certified mental health coach, as a social worker, I've done a lot of different things, but right now, I work as a coach on the platform called Headspace. And I also work as a coach in my part-time practice where I particularly support high achieving, academically thriving Black teens and young adults, helping them reduce stress, build confidence, navigate predominantly white institutions, build a positive cultural identity and racial identity, especially if people assume they have it all figured out. And I was that student. And so that is why I'm really passionate about it. So today is Juneteenth, and I want to read what Juneteenth is from the National Museum of African American History and Culture through the Smithsonian, because it's a beautiful resource. And if you don't know about it, I want you to check that out. So what Smithsonian says through the National Museum of African American History and Culture is that Juneteenth is an often overlooked event in our nation's history. On June 19th, 1865, Union troops freed enslaved African Americans in Galveston Bay and across Texas some 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. So, 2 years. 2 years. And so when we talk about Juneteenth Freedom Day, what I hear is actually a day where we're celebrating awareness. Do you know what it's like to navigate through life without awareness of something that could change the trajectory of your life? I think that we can think about that on a personal level and also on a collective level. So, right, from my ancestors who were freed and did not know, some of them did not know for 2 years, and so we're still operating as if they were still enslaved, but they have been free. And freedom is a layered and complicated journey, but you can't even start the journey if you don't have awareness that you can live a different way, that you can now make another choice. And so as my work in just social work, as a mental health coach in my own healing journey, I've had so many freedom days. I've had so many personal Juneteenths. And I think it is really important for us to think about that in our own lives. What are the areas in our lives where we didn't have awareness? And then we got awareness, and then we could make a different choice. Areas where maybe we didn't know we were free, but we actually had access to freedom, and then we can make a different choice. And that's going to look different to everybody. Sometimes when I'm working with my clients, they'll say things like, oh, I didn't know I could think about that way. Or like, oh, I didn't know I could make that choice. Or, oh, I didn't know I could say no in that situation. And I'm like, yeah, we can. And it's hard to see that sometimes without help. And so I really would love you to think about what are the areas of your life where you didn't have self-awareness, you didn't know, but now you know. And then I'm going to end on this quote that I love by someone who was enslaved and freed. He's a Black man. And of course, there's just so many hidden figures in Black history. And so I hope it blesses you. But in my personal life, there's so many things I can point to. There's so many things. But one thing I will share is that it took me a long time to understand some of the sensitivities that I have, how my mind works in certain ways, how my brain works. And so, for example, in social settings, my social battery dwindles a lot quicker than other people's, that most people's, I would say, because of some of the sensitivities I have. And so I now don't just force myself to stay in social situations if I'm tired. So if my body is saying, yeah, at 2 hours, we need to leave, or there's a lot of stimulation here, we need to tap out, I give myself permission to go. And now that I have that awareness, I know nothing's wrong with me. My body, my brain, my sensitivities just are what they are. And I need to take care of myself in those moments so that I'm healthier in community and not pushing through and pushing past my capacity. And so that is a very small example, but it's a big one. And I have so many examples of where I did not have awareness at one point in life of what my sensitivities are and what Candace needs and how Candace has to navigate social situations and when Candace needs to tap out. And now that I have that awareness, I operate in a lot more freedom. And that is really what a personal Juneteenth is, like really celebrating awareness. Like, where weren't you aware? And now you're aware, so now you can make another choice. And so I'm going to end with this quote, and this quote is by Houston Hartsfield Holloway. Houston Hartsfield Holloway was born on a plantation in 1844 and became a free man at the close of the Civil War in 1865. He made the transition from slavery to freedom and all the nuances that come with that. And this is what he says: "For we colored people did not know how to be free, and the white people did not know how to have a free colored person about them." I'm going to say this again. "For we colored people did not know how to be free, and the white people did not know how to have a free colored person about them." This quote is deep to me for so many reasons, because we don't admit sometimes the things we just don't know or we don't know how to do. I know for me, as someone who was a high achieving Black teen and young adult, admitting I did not know something was really hard. Admitting my imperfections was really hard. Part of that is just navigating a predominantly white society, where as Black people, as a Black person, my consequences are oftentimes a lot harsher. That has been a lived experience. That's been things you see on the news. And so perfectionism, oftentimes for those of us who live in bodies that look like me, is born out of the conditions of this country. And so not knowing how to be free, or not knowing how not to do things perfectly, right, was something I had to learn. And in Houston's quote, I just hear so much of his humanity, right? Because whenever we choose a new threshold of freedom in our life, whenever I choose a new threshold of freedom in my life, we're learning what it takes of our bodies, our minds, our spirits to adjust. And it's unfamiliar. And then also other people have to catch up. So in this context, what Houston is saying is like, not only did I have to learn how to be free, but the white people around me had to learn that, like, I get to be free amongst you. And so that is also true with us as well. Like, your academic thriving Black teen or young adult is a layered human being. And maybe you're used to them existing one way in the world, and they're changing and they're growing. And as parents or as caregivers or as family, we're like, oh, like, I have to get used to them walking in the world differently than maybe how I'm used to. So I just want us to all hold that complexity, that as we change and as we grow, as we cross new thresholds of freedom, not only do we have to get used to what that is to be in that space, but other people around us do too. So in the example I gave earlier, I had to get used to understanding what my sensitivities are in social settings, and accept that without shame, and be okay that, okay, I'm different in this area than some people, but there's also other people in the world who have similar sensitivities as I am in social settings. And then people around me may feel a certain type of way because I'm not staying at the event the whole time, or I'm leaving when my body says we're exhausted. And so, other people might have to adjust to that, or not, I don't know. But when we cross thresholds of freedom, we have to hold our own humanity with so much tenderness and so much care. And so I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you reflect on your own life. I hope this helps you reflect on the lives of your teens and young people. This is a graduation season where so many young adults and teens I've worked with are graduating, and they're transitioning, and they're spreading their wings, right? And they are stepping into new levels of freedom that maybe they haven't adjusted to or they're getting used to. And then parents are having to learn, like, oh, like, what is it like to see my child or my young person operate in the world in this way? And it's worth it, because this is how we grow, this is how we stretch. But again, happy Juneteenth. Reflect on where your self-awareness has grown. Celebrate your own personal Juneteenth. And of course, if you need support with this, I am taking new clients. You can visit hellocandace.com. I would love to chat. You can book a free exploration call, and we can go from there. Take care.